The Bearcats are back in Nippert this weekend against Big Ten Indiana. The Bearcats beat the Hoosiers last year, so Indiana definitely has revenge on their mind. I'm Regan, and this is your 2-minute warning. So what can the Bearcats expect out of Indiana? Well, Coach Luke Fickell said there is one thing for sure, and they are going to spread the ball around.
There's a lot of things that you're still trying to speculate, but you know this, that they're going to spread the ball around. If you remember playing the UCFs of the world, I think that is very similar to what it is that they're doing. And the unique thing about UCF was that hey, if you didn't pay attention to the run, that's where they were most dangerous. Everybody talks about the shots down the field and the space, but their ability to have balance is what made them so good. And that's a little bit of the vision of what I see from Indiana. That sometimes you notice just the splits and the things like that, but their ability to still be able to run the football is, I think, where they create the difficult situations when you really got to they got a balance to what it is that they're doing.
Coach said playing Indiana is a big deal. Anytime we play an undefeated team, it's a big deal. Last year, the Bearcats didn't have a great start against the Hoosiers, but rallied back in the second half for one of the more defining wins for the program last year. So what does growth look like? Well, Coach said they're going to play more and more skilled teams as the year goes on. So we need to focus on tackling and running the ball.
Find the guys that are going to carry the running game. I think more than anything is where I think we still got to grow. We're not going to get away with being a top 15, top 10 team in the country throwing the football. I mean, the reality is the teams that are the top 2 and 3 in the country usually aren't always the best. Just like the top 2 or 3 teams running the football aren't always the best because they don't have balance. So for us to continue to grow, we know we've got to be able to throw the football, but we've got to make sure we've got enough balance. I'm not saying we didn't. Obviously, Chuck rushed for over 100 yards, and I think that was really, really good for a team that basically in the past had said they're not going to allow you to run the football. I think Kentucky rushed for 40-some yards, and they had done a really good job. But I know for us to continue to develop, we've got to create and make sure that we've got balance in what we're doing. And that's establishing that ability to be able to run the football a little bit more.
One thing that Coach says they do well, though, wreaking havoc and eliminating explosive plays on defense.
Well, that's been the difference in that rivalry game. We were plus 11 in the explosives last week. Obviously, we didn't win the turnover margin, which is where we've done not as good a job in that game in particular. But some people would say, the analytics people of the world would say that turnovers aren't as big a deal. It comes down to the explosives. I don't know, and I do know that I don't agree with them. But I know at times that there's things that can balance things out, and you've got to be able to find ways to create explosive plays. Just like defensively, you got to find ways to eliminate explosives and create havoc, and that's where we have done a good job. Each and every week we've done a really good job at finding ways to create explosives, whether that's throwing the football, whether that's getting the ball into space, and running the football and popping them. But it really comes down to, the space stuff. I say it all the time for the back, get them to the second level and let's see people have to tackle them. The skill guys get the ball out there into all that space and make people have to tackle them. We've done a really good job of that, and I think that's, obviously was the difference in last week's game.
I'm Regan, and that was your 2-minute warning.